Good morning, everybody. One of the first big foreign policy challenges we faced as we became a country was the raiding of our ships by the Barbary pirates. Pirates from Libya, Tunisia, Morocco, that part of North Africa. And it was on this date, February 16, in 1804, that Stephen Decatur crept into the harbor and burned one of our own ships, the USS Philadelphia, that had been captured by the Barbary pirates.
This is the Barbary Coast. It's the northern part of Africa, and the name Barbary comes from Berber, the name of the indigenous people who live in that part of Africa. Now, piracy was not new. The Barbary pirates had been raiding European ships for hundreds of years. Here's a picture of that. So by the time of our story, was something people were pretty used to. In 1794, Congress passed a Naval Act which called for 6 frigates. Here's Old Ironside in Boston Harbor, one of the 6. And at the same time, the Americans signed a treaty with Britain the same year, 1794, which the French saw as a threat. So 2 threats to our Navy, one from the Barbary pirates, one from the French, especially in the Caribbean, where we were trying to trade with everybody, including the Brits. And this is the time where France and Britain are at war during the Revolution, the French Revolution. So here's Thomas Jefferson. He became president in 1801. He was very friendly to the French, but at the same time, he realized that we had to do something with our Navy to protect ourselves. And Jefferson's version of the Navy was basically coastal defense using cutters. Here's a picture of a cutter. And this is the background to the founding of the Coast Guard. But even he realized some bigger ships would be necessary, particularly as we actually went to kind of war with France. It's called the Quasi-War. It happened for about 3 years. It was not a formal declaration of war, but it was tense with the French for a while. At the same time, the Barbary pirates are pretty bold. Here's Tripoli Harbor in modern Libya. They were very aggressive in going after the United States shipping. They thought maybe we were weak. So we responded by blockading the harbor in Tripoli. And here you see Tripoli Harbor. It looks very fortified. So our ships were going back and forth, keeping an eye on the Barbary pirates. And one day, the USS Philadelphia went aground. Here's a picture of that. And it was captured by the Barbary pirates, who used the guns against American shipping in the area. So here's our event. February 16, 1804, Stephen Decatur and some other men of the Navy crept in using a Barbary pirate ship that they had captured. They boarded the Philadelphia, ferocious fighting on the ship. We took it over and set it on fire. And here's a picture of our own ship on fire in Tripoli Harbor in modern Libya. Now, if you look to the right on this map, you can see the town of Derna. This is where the Marines landed. So the idea was that the Marines would land, go cross country, and put pressure on Tripoli from the landward side. And here's a picture of that. And when this happened, the ruler of modern Libya realized the game was up, so he made peace with the Americans. And this is the Tripoli Monument. It's the oldest military monument in the United States. It's at Annapolis. It was sculpted in 1806, so check it out if you're down there sometime. And just a note, the War of 1812 is kind of a continuation of some of these issues about the Navy. Will it be respected on the high seas? And after the War of 1812, it was. Now, you know the phrase, the shores of Tripoli. You might know the movie that came out in 1942, but it's also in the Marine song, From the Halls of Montezuma to the Shores of Tripoli, and that comes from this time period. There have been many USS Philadelphias. This is the World War II version. It was a light cruiser, CL-41. I think there have been 5, and the most recent is this attack submarine, SSN-690. Legacy of the ship that burned in Tripoli harbor back in 1804.